Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV, episode 206. This is America. How y'all doing? A lot of stuff going on. Really not a lot, really. It's really one main thing going on. It's the center of everything, I guess, but hopefully y'all had a stress-free week as possible with all the stuff going on and the reactions around the world to our event. Hold on, let me do this. How we doing, Regina? Duke into the chat on this leisure, aka lazy Sunday. Yeah, finally got a little rain on a Sunday too. I was just telling Travis it's supposed to be rainy Seattle, and we ain't had a real rain. I feel like in like a decade since I've been up here. The last time we got a real rain up here, it was like a tsunami almost. And since then, I feel like it's just been drizzles here and there. But anyway, a lot to get to. Gonna go through it all. Hold on, y'all. Let me just do this. All right. Got Charlie Kirk, media lies, and Black America. So after a day where I feel like we back in the I don't know if we've seen something that we've seen a lot of stuff public, a lot of killings and tragic situations happen publicly. We talk about the school shootings and whether it's on college campuses, high schools, middle schools. We've seen all type of stuff happen to politicians, getting beat up, shot. We've seen people break into politicians' houses like Nancy Pelosi and beat them with a hammer. We've heard and seen some crazy stories in the last decade. This was so public that it caused such a visceral reaction from the public, whether it was, the people that were, sad about it and were constantly anybody who weren't as emotional about the situation as far as being pro Charlie Kirk. And you had the reactions to people mocking his death, which is not a new phenomenon at this point. When people don't like you, social media has made it pretty normalized. I can't even say that because even back in the day, when someone people considered a terrible person passed away, people didn't care. People let it be known. So that's not new. Okay, we'll get right into it. Charlie Kirk assassinated at university event in Utah. Now, I think I do a decent job at staying somewhat up to date with politics. I'm not, 100% in my, up to my knees in it, but I keep up with it for the most part. Social stuff going around, certain public figures that are becoming more important or gaining influence. So I know of Charlie Kirk, obviously. But after this situation happened here, he was assassinated. I didn't realize how influential he was, I guess. I started hearing people make the point that in his passing, that if this doesn't happen to him, he was 31 years old, that he probably runs for president. Maybe I'm out of the loop, but I put him in the same box as the people who he was once connected to, which is people like Candace Owens and people like that, which are people who I felt like were going to be political influencers, people that start these programs and these think tanks, and their job is to just try and influence college kids to vote for a particular party. I never viewed him as somebody that can go into politics, I guess. I never thought he would ever have that type of base, but maybe I was wrong. But obviously, with this shooting, the internet was in an uproar. Like I said, people that were celebrating it, people that were devastated by it. But it was funny how many of the white Civil War that I saw online, and then you seen the black people, obviously, who were like, hey man, he was this, he was that, I don't care, F him, da 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 da. Then you had the black people that were trying to, hey man, we don't diss the dead, he's gone, he had a wife and kids. And then people started bringing the old clips and the audios, and quotes of stuff that he said, and it led to a lot of discourse. So we're gonna get into it. Let me pull this up right here. Craig says counting or not gang violence. Pow! Let me say it like this. It's crazy, right? It's almost poetic. I'm not, however you feel about it, how you feel about it, but it's almost crazy how he's built a lot of his platform on his critique or looking at the quote unquote data or what they call saying the uncomfortable truths, which I disagree with. I'm sick of people saying that people who call themselves conservative, who get on platforms and say the same things that Black Americans have been saying these same things for 100 years. No one, or at least I don't think so, who think about these things is confused to what the problems are, which is all like I said, the people who call themselves conservatives, all they do is point out or tell us what the problems are. We already know that. Black people ourselves have been talking about the problems for a century. That's nothing new. The only disagreement that's going on in the Black community is the solution. That's the problem. You have one side that say, hey, bootstrap, do it ourselves, self-sufficient. We shouldn't need anybody. We don't need what they call a handout. We can do it ourselves. Stop relying on the government. Stop blaming white people. That's one side. Then you have the other side that says, no, we need redress. We need to be made whole through a debt owed to us, and then things can be fixed. We could focus on the individual and the responsibility that we have amongst ourselves. You can't ask us to do things on our own right now when we've purposely locked out of the country and economy for hundreds of years, and now expected to just stand up and just do it as a unit, as a nation, not just individual people, right? So this is nothing new what he's saying. Regina says, Emperor's matriarch. I was also surprised to hear amongst the base that some white Christian nationalists saw him as a future prez. Yeah, I think, like I said, maybe I'm out of the loop. I never saw him as that. I saw him as a Candace Owens. I saw him as a Tucker Carlson is more influential than him. I could see Tucker Carlson going for president, at least until the Fox News situation, and now they paint him as this anti-Semite, and we're gonna get to that with the Charlie Kirk conspiracies that's going on. I feel like Tucker Carlson, like 2-3 years ago, had a much better chance to try and run for office than Charlie Kirk. But maybe I'm wrong. Gina says, CK wrote his own eulogy and his own punchlines to include he didn't believe in empathy. That's facts. It's like everything his base or his supporters were angry at the quote unquote left, because they kept saying left. It's amazing how this country has still been able to keep in mind, Charlie Kirk's whole thing was, you listen to his supporters, they say that he wasn't Republican or a liberal. He was a moderate. He was a independent. He critiqued both parties, yet y'all keep saying left, liberal as they. And it's like, you still don't see it as one country with two parties of the two wings of the same, but you don't even see it that way, because you're still doing this us versus them thing. So even with all the stuff you say that he was trying to spread, you don't believe in it. And then for him to say stuff like, I don't believe in empathy, but then you get mad at people that don't show empathy to him. I don't understand. Y'all say something about a lot of his supporters were saying, cancel culture and stuff like that. And they were saying stuff like, hate speech is free speech. Get over it. But then when he gets killed and people are making jokes, you're calling people's jobs. It's the right wingers calling people's jobs, trying to get them fired. That's what the Karens do. That's what the left liberal, wokes do, as y'all say. But then y'all are doing it, and it's nice in a righteous manner. It's just, yeah. He said, it's 4chan talk. Regina, Proverbs 18-21. Dre said, what's good, Dre? Also, what up, Craig? So when I see all this, he said uncomfortable truths and stuff, I disagree. I think he was someone just like Kenneth. He used social issues and made them political, which I guess you could say is a normalcy now. And he built the platform off of that. He used he twisted data and statistics to paint certain agendas and narratives. He liked graphs, but he never properly put them in context. And when this happened, there wasn't much remorse for him seen on social media by certain people. Authorities say conservative activist Charlie Kirk was killed by a single shot in an apparent targeted attack during an outdoor event Wednesday at Utah Valley University. Kirk also co-founded the conservative youth organization Turning Point USA and was a close ally of President Donald Trump. By the way, y'all see how Trump handling this? When he first found out about the death, Trump announced it, obviously. After that, I didn't even try to look for the video. It was getting posted on social media. It's like it is a situation where we are extremely desensitized to death at this point, and maybe it's just for the people we don't like, or at least they don't like. But man, how often did people were just posting this gruesome video? It's one of the more gruesome situations I've seen online, and if you go past like the gore stuff that's online, like this was crazy. Like you saw it all. Like you knew instantly when you saw that video, he's dead. Like they kept saying, "Oh, he's in critical condition," but no one believed that. Everyone, if you saw that video, he did not survive that. Craig said that video was wicked. Yeah, it was crazy. This is a dark day for our state. It's a tragic day for our nation, said Utah Governor Spencer Cox. I want to be very clear. This is a political assassination. Let's get into Mr. Spencer Cox. Utah. A lot of people were wishing and hoping when the shooting originally happened. They were wishing and hoping that it was a black, trans, Muslim person who did the killing. And when it wasn't that, they were so disappointed. Like it was crazy. The second the shooting happened, all I saw across it was Civil War. They said it immediately. Civil War. This means war. Hold on, y'all. Let me make sure I set this. Hold on, sorry. One more. All right. So this is the video here of the governor. Let me play this. Let me play this. He said he was praying that it wasn't for somebody from Utah, as he said. He didn't want it to be from somebody from Utah. He wanted to be able to say that we don't do stuff like that here. But yeah, didn't go like that. Dre said that video was pretty gruesome. Virginia says, as more details come forward, turns out he was just another bag of hot air who dropped out of community college, but it is a know-it-all. Yeah. Let me play this video here.
This bad stuff happens, and for 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us, that somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I hoped for.
He wanted to be somebody from another state, from another country.
Just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here.
Now, part of the irony, or maybe the poetic situation, is he was constantly in debates on these college campuses about the crime statistics and stuff. And he always, as Craig pointed out immediately, he got up there and he was talking in Utah about gang violence and stuff, and he was just about to go into it. He said gang violence, and it was over. So he died talking about the very things that may have pissed some people off. Now, like I said, they thought they wanted this to be a black Muslim trans, woke lefty so bad. But it turned out to be just some lost white young male. He was hoping it was a ninja. It definitely was. It's going to be white on white crime. Yeah, that's the part that's why it was so hilarious. That part, at least, regardless if you want to celebrate someone's passing or not, that part you just couldn't escape. I want to pause this. Hold on, y'all. Dre says it's funny how they were hoping that it wasn't a white person, considering the fact that they commit the most assassination in the country. Bro, when you look at the crime statistics, like somebody was pointing out, they keep pointing out the murder statistics and how 50% of murders are done by incident. But how many people is that? It's less than 20,000 out of 40 million black people. This is where, William said gunshot sound effect got me. Oh yeah, got you shook. Everybody on high alert. I remember people was telling a lot of the. I'm gonna get to it later. I'm gonna get to that later. Let me go ahead and move through some of this, and I want to play this immediately because this is a scene people kept posting across social media in the reaction to his assassination.
I think this is a prime example of the devil's chickens coming back home to roost. That the chickens that he sent out, the violence that he's perpetrated in other countries here and abroad, be it 4 children in Birmingham or Medgar Evers or Lumumba in Africa, I think this same violence has come back to claim one of their own. Now, being an old farm boy myself, chickens coming home to roost never made me sad. In fact, it's only made me glad. I think this is a prime example.
The more amazing part of that is there's an actual video that's not hard to find, as somebody said, of Malcolm X actually saying this. But people kept using Denzel Washington's Malcolm X scene, kept posting this one, which shows how great his acting was in that movie, honestly. Then it says, he also said, paraphrasing, he didn't mind a few deaths by guns to preserve the Second Amendment rights. Yep. Everything he said just came back. Dre, my boy, oh yeah, Bud. Let me take a second out to say, Bud Crawford whooped Canelo ass. They made it from what I saw, because the fight happened. I went back and watched it. They scored a fight 7-5 for Bud. It wasn't that close. I said to Travis when we were talking about the fight that if Bud can show that Canelo isn't stronger than him in the first 2 rounds, it's over. The fight gonna be over immediately. And very quickly, we saw that there wasn't a huge strength advantage for him. And we saw Bud still had his athleticism. He still had good feet. He still had his reflexes with all the muscle on him. Nothing changed. And I do want to say this though. It proves that Crawford should have never been fighting at 135, 140. Clearly, he's a dude who should have been probably fighting at 147 early. He should have never been fighting at 135, 140. But we know why a lot of fighters began to do that, because of the whole Manny Pacquiao 8 division champion. People started chasing division championships. They would purposely come into boxing underweight, and then as they get older, move up. But clearly, the fact that Crawford's strength is moving up with him so easily, it could be genetics, but I believe it's because he probably should have came in at 140 and very quickly moved to 147. And by now, he would have been already at 160, 168. But it don't matter. 3-time undisputed champion. I saw Canelo say he thinks Bud is better than Floyd. I said, hey, look, it don't even matter who you think better. Both of them whooped your ass, so it don't matter. Saying who whooped me worse it is what it is. He said I missed the fight. It was a I won't say it wasn't exciting. It was a good fight if you like boxing, but they busted in the pocket somewhat. He traded somewhat. He also moved his feet. He fought him every way he could beat him. On the back foot, he came forward. He stood in there with him. He slipped him. He countered him. He did everything he could do. And like we know, every time Canelo fight one of those type of fighters, he lose easily. That's the real conversation. I see everybody putting Bud in their top 10 and top 5s. What does Canelo drop? Every time he has one of those fights where he goes against somebody where it's like, hey, this is a different dude. This guy's skill set, this guy's this and that he lose. And he got a few losses that didn't count as losses. They gave him some wins when he had some losses sometimes. So, but yeah, that's shout out to Bud Crawford. Congratulations. And we'll see what he do next. Will he retire? Will he fight Benavidez like the dude Turkey wanted him to do? I'm saying right now, do not fight that big ass Mexican, whatever he is. Don't fight that big ass dude, man. He's like 6'3", he walk around like 200. Look, hey, you fought giants, but I think right now is where you start to have some reality. But anyway, 3 said he won, yeah. All right, it's back to this. Where we at? Oh yeah, this is his the website for the co-founding movement he started. Hold on. As you can see here, Turning Point USA. When you go to it, it tells you building legacy and remembering Charlie Kirk 21st, 2025. So yeah, I want to show also this right here. And I'm gonna show what his wife, who finally came out and said something, his widow. State Department warns immigrants not to mock Kirk's death. I also saw something that said they were threatening anybody who's works for the government, a state job or whatever. If you had any comments on social media mocking or being insensitive to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, that they were on you. Military members. And I want to say, this man wasn't a politician. He had no political office. He was just a civilian who built a platform. So it's insane that this level of what the government is doing with threatening people's jobs and stuff or having opinions on a civilian's for civilians' words is kind of crazy. Keep in mind, the people that are saying this ain't the ones who did it to him. They just reacting and you're willing to fire them. He was just a civilian. That's kind of crazy. But Dre said, I same him as to fight, but I'm glad he won. He also said he didn't want to believe in empathy. Yeah, military also. He said, freedom of speech for me, but not for thee. Crazy. Exactly. And keep in mind, this is what the right wing has always been yelling about. So let me show this here. I want to show the words, just a few. I'm not going to play the whole thing. This minute here of his widow wife and what she had to say when she first spoke out after the assassination of her husband. Let me show this.
The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. But they should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country and this world. You have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
Now, it's funny how they keep using the words they and you when we know exactly, or the person who did it allegedly was already captured. So who is they and you? I mean, it's a person name, you could say. But I want to show some more reactions to this. He said, I saw some of that yesterday. I only watched 15 to 20 seconds. I have to turn it off. She sounded like so Hollywood. Oh, we're going to get to the conspiracy. Just give me a second. We're going to get to some of these theories that people are putting out. Let me get to this right here.
This is such bullshit. I've never been so pissed in my whole life. And this murder Charlie Kirk right here in Utah. I'm so freaking pissed right now. This is bullshit. I just saw blood squirting out of his neck. I love that guy. He would have been our next president. I am so pissed right now. Why do they always come with fucking violence? Gosh, damn it. Use your freaking words as they're talking to you people. Who shot Charlie Kirk? I'm driving in a Provo right now. I'm so pissed. Damn it.
Now, I'm not saying he can't react this way, but we've seen children get shot at schools. Now think about it for a second. We've seen children, like elementary, children get shot at schools. And I guarantee he doesn't have a post reacting this way. See, this is what we call man worship. This man viewed this 31-year-old man as his savior. It's crazy. Dre said, oh yeah, I saw that video, man was tweaking out. Mormon church, Israel government, the billionaires that funded them. Oh, we will get to it. We will get to it. The biggest one is the Israel government. He said, exactly, I think there was school shooting this week, but hardly anyone said anything. Exactly. That's how you know it's not about, they don't care about these shootings and violence. They want their ideology to be allowed to be pervasive and move forward. It's as I said, when you're in a society like this in America, where this country, regardless of, as black people, what we feel, this country was built for them to be successful, or at least to turn into that. The fact that they feel like in this country they are voiceless, it's just crazy. How do you feel voiceless in this country? How do you feel like think about this. They built an entire system. They created the idea of COINTELPRO, destroyed the Black Messiah. They started this whole spy situation to make sure you don't have a savior. And yet they're now crying out for one for their own nation. They're crying for a savior. They thought it was Donald Trump. They don't believe in Donald Trump no more. They needed somebody who said it out loud. White America, not Israel, not Europe. They needed somebody to speak directly to them. And they finally found some influencers, and I'm calling them influencers because a lot of them was scamming. They found somebody to say it, built a platform on it, and they felt like those people spoke for them. It's crazy how the same thing happened with the crack epidemic. Just the other day, I was on YouTube and I saw a commercial. You know how back in the 80s, they had those Just Say No for commercials? Or during the early 2000s, they would have those commercials of somebody smoking weed and they were flat on the couch. And they had this whole thing where if you smoke weed, these bad things will happen to you. I saw that for pills. I saw that for fentanyl. I'm sorry. They had a commercial for fentanyl where a dude is standing in front of a mirror saying, first I lost my hair, then I lost my teeth, and then my skin turned gray. He said, and then I died. Stay away from fentanyl. I said, they doing commercials for them now for their drug addiction because you focus so much on the Negroes in the 80s and the 90s that you didn't pay attention to what your own community was doing. It's just crazy. All right, let me play this here. This is them in their rally.
Fight back! White man, fight back! White man, fight back! White man, fight back! White man!
White man, fight back.
Fight back! White man, fight back!
They out here protesting. The white men are out here protesting in their own country. It's crazy. Dem's faux tears is the cause they can't blame it on Ninja. Them fake tears is they can't blame it on Ninja, and they don't want to concede a civil war. They threaten against themselves. Exactly. Immediately they were saying all this Civil War stuff. When they found out who it was, Charlie Kirk was a Christian. He would have wanted us to pray for him. Like, whoa. Y'all was talking about stringing people up. Y'all was talking about putting people next to trees and throwing picnics again. Picking nigga events. Now it's pray for him. Fuck these people. Dre said, if I'm not mistaken, there was a theory that they were saying he got shot because he spoke out against Israel, but I'm not sure. I'm going to get to it. Many people have spoken against Israel like Candace Owens and many more. Tucker Carlson. They call him an anti-Semite now. You know, they've been doing that to Candace Owens for like probably the last 3 or 4 years. They've been calling her anti-Semite. They don't like her no more. The right wing has kind of, the evangelical Christian right don't really F with her like that no more. So that's why she tried to pivot towards social commentary. She started talking about hoes and stuff a few years ago. Now she kind of doing more conspiracy content. She don't dabble into politics as much anymore because that evangelical right wing, they don't like her because they call her anti-Semite. All right, let me show some more of these reactions. Hold on. All right. Suspect in Charlie Kirk killing had new interest in politics and was squeaky clean reputation. Utah Governor Spencer Cox said a family member of the suspect reached out to the family friend who contracted the Washington County Sheriff Office. All right, so this one don't make sense, right? First, they told us that the killer, I remember his name, Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson is the alleged shooter's name. First, they told us his father turned him in, right? That was one of the first things that came out. Then they said a friend's house he was at turned him in. This is when they were saying he had a trans girlfriend. Then they say he turned himself in. They say he turned himself in and admitted to doing it. So which is it? Did his father turn him in? Did he turn himself in? Or did a family friend or a friend of his turn him in? They've given multiple stories. I did not know that Brandon Tatum and Charlie Kirk were friends. Brandon Tatum, I'm going to show that too. Brandon Tatum, I said that he's the worst. When people talk about Candace on, Brandon Tatum is the worst representative of that type of right, black, quote unquote, black conservative. He is the worst. And this is why I know that they got videos of Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk singing R. Kelly songs. But then they got a tweet of Charlie Kirk condemning R. Kelly, saying that how it's his music on Spotify if he's a pedophile and stuff like. Well, you were singing this song on video. What are you talking about? Dre said, isn't her husband Jewish? I don't know. I know he's from the UK. I think he's from Europe. I don't know if he's from the UK or England or whatever, but he's from Europe over there. I don't know if he's Jewish. But yeah, this right here, the squeaky clean, considerate kid who grew up in a family that celebrate his academic wins and time together in the suburban Utah community is now accused of murdering conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Now they say he come from a 2-parent household, had a 4.0 GPA. Obviously, he was in college. He was supposed to be a student there at Utah, and he's now committing. Keep in mind, this shot is 200. It was 200 yards away, I think they said. Now, where it hit him is where there's a bit of disagreement. Some people saying it hit him in the neck. Some are saying it actually hit him on his bulletproof vest first and then went to his neck. And that's where conspiracies start popping up as, was he supposed to die, or was it supposed to be a Trump situation where he took a shot to the chest with a bulletproof vest and then he prevails and it comes, they try to assassinate him and his popularity grows even more. Was it supposed to go how it went? Was it supposed to be a false flag? I don't know. Dre says, I found out about that a few days ago. I heard trade school. Yeah. So I've heard trade school. I've heard that he was in community. He's dropped out of community college, as you brought up. I've heard that he was a straight A student. I've heard that he wasn't a good student, even though right here it's saying that he celebrates academics. So, when these stories first happened initially, they just started giving out BS. These are legacy media is trying to get headlines out. They're trying to get clicks. At the end of the day, it's a business. Let me play.
Fired here these last 72 hours.
Von Hilliard, thank you. Everyone, please stay close. And joining us now is criminologist Casey Jordan. Casey, so much happening so quickly here this morning. We're learning as well from our own reporting that there's no indication of a prior criminal record. This is according to searches of state national public records associated with the person, Tyler Robinson, and his date of birth. One of the most striking details that we learned from this press conference were, again, about those bullet casings and the inscriptions, "Hey, fascist," the words, "Bella Ciao," the words, "If you read this, you are gay." What do you see as the significance or what the message is that he's trying to communicate here?
Really, I would need to actually see these words in the way that they are on the bullet casings in the gun to make a proper interpretation. But just knowing what those words are, I'm kind of overwhelmed with how immature it all sounds, and that there is no really chronic theme. I think Brandy really nailed it. You have to make of it what you want, because, it's like, sees bulges, if you're reading this, you're gay, catch this fascist, or hey, fascist, catch. It's like the rantings of a really immature child. And we really need to learn a lot more about what was going on in this accused shooter's life when all of this was happening. Was he in a rabbit hole? Did he have no job? Did he have no purpose? How did he become such a consumer of hate? That his family reports he was talking with hate speech about his feelings about the victim just at the family dinner the night before. We get the impression he didn't
All right,
live
Craig.
at home because they talk about the Discord messages with his roommate. But they also confirmed he is not a college student at the university where the crime happened. So I will be very interested to reconstruct what was going on in his life. Did he have a job? Did he go to school? Was he fired from a job? Did he apply to jobs and he was not hired? Did he, have just smoldering hate? Mostly my takeaway is that the writings on the gun and on the bullets really emulate everything we just saw a few weeks ago in the Minnesota Catholic school shooting. So I don't think
This is what they were trying to paint it. This is MSNBC. They were painting it as, he's one of these probably left-wing trans activists. Now, keep in mind, his parents apparently are registered Republicans. The typical Utah Republican family went hunting. That's how I guess I learned how to shoot, I guess, if you want to believe he's the one that did it. So 2-parent household, Republican registered, but yet he's a left wing because he was calling Charlie Kirk a fascist. And we've heard that word fascism in America attached to Trump the last couple of years since he got elected. They've been calling Trump a fascist. So now it automatically paints it as, he must be anti-Trump. But there's pictures of him on his Facebook at a Halloween party dressed up as Donald Trump, and not in an unforgiving way where he's disrespectful, but it's a picture of him in a costume where it looks like he's sitting on Donald Trump's shoulders. So that would mean he had to be somewhat of a supporter, I guess. I don't know. He said Antifa, possibly. Although I feel like Antifa is bigger in Oregon, Washington State up here. I don't know about Utah. Utah has some militias and stuff. Maybe so. They might got some chapters out there too. Virginia said, CK was debating a college student over his dropping out of community college who was questioning his credibility. Let me get here. Hold on. What is this one? Oh, this is a video of him. Accepting his acceptance letter. Hold on. What he got?
Okay. Congratulations. You have been selected to receive the Resident Presidential Scholarship from Utah State University. The value of this scholarship is approximately $32,000. This scholarship is available for 4 years or 8 semesters.
So that was him accepting it. Hold on. But yeah, so there's a lot of discrepancy with his educational background. Did he go there? Did he not? Was he community college dropout? Was he? They're mixing it up. Virginia says, I learned today the right wing has a version of Antifa called Gropers. Are y'all familiar? No, I'm not familiar with that. Oh, is that the group that have the frog emblem or the frog logo? If that's it, then I don't know about the name, but I definitely know about them because they always have a frog as their logo or their picture or something. Hold on, y'all. I'm looking it up right quick. It's not showing. Yeah, the frog. Yeah, Goipers. Yeah, where they try to make it seem like everything is because of Jewish people's fault. They blame the porn industry, interracial relationships, all that stuff on Jewish people. When they see a white woman with a man of another race, they blame Jewish people. You fell for the Jewish propaganda. Yeah, I know about them. I know about them. They heavy on Twitter now too. That's the one that Nick. Yeah. That's it. Nick Foitis. I can't never say his name right. Yeah, and that Nick dude. Yeah, he part of that. The Goipers are affiliated with Nick. Yeah. They've been around for a minute. They used to be called what's this called? It was something where it was like a cartoon drawing, and they called them Doomers. And it was like these young white kids who had no hope, and they were deep on like Reddit. What's that other website? They'd be on 4chan, and there's another one. They be heavy on there. The Goiper saw CK as a trait. Yeah, that's probably what it is. They're pretty much white nationalists, pretty much. They full throttle, honest white nationalists. And then most of them are younger. That's more of the younger people. They typically are online trolling people, saying racist stuff. But yeah. Let me show this. There was a Virgil for Charlie Kirk, and somebody went through with a middle finger up saying F Charlie Kirk. Crowd got a hold of him and put hands on. And this is why I said the language. Charlie Kirk was one of those people that used Christianity to cover his white nationalist beliefs, or patriot. They call a Christian patriot. Well, how are you a Christian patriot? A Christian is not supposed to have any type of ties or loyalty to a country or land. It's supposed to be only to God. So there shouldn't be an idea of being a patriot if you're a Christian. Your loyalty should be to God and your fellow Christians. But we know what they're really using to cover up. So the rage they're showing is not for their country. So the immediate reaction to them saying, F this man, this is a man, this is a human being. The reaction to saying F him by these so-called Christians, they're Christians, remember that, is to yell USA and then beat his ass. What's so Christian about beating a man's ass in the name of USA? But it is what it is.
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
Oh, white on white crime is about to be an all-time high, because these rallies and these protests they're gonna be doing, they're gonna be putting hands on each other. Like always, most of the violence is between them. Historically, when you talk about the wars of Europe and all that stuff, they love killing and beating on each other. They just, through a spirit, found a way to have a semblance of unity so they can build what they have built and the superpower they've become. But like all things that go up, it must come down. Regina says bonfires and pocket sand. Oh yeah, quick, hit them with the eye with it. Yeah. These are your Christian nationalists. Let me show some more reactions to people, and we'll get to the black people in a second. I'm gonna show more of what the white people were saying, because while after the shooting, they kept focusing on the black people, like these pages. And I know a lot of this is bait. You know, Elon pays you based off of how many views your post make, how many views your post gets. So 4 million, 5 million, 10 million views is a couple $1,000s. So these people will go farm content and just try to incite anger or some type of emotion to get views on their videos. So you got white people on Twitter going to TikTok, finding black people who are mocking Charlie Kirk's death, and then bringing it to Twitter and say, look at these evil people. And it's like, wait, what about the white person on Twitter right here who's saying it? Why are you going all the way over here to focus on the black people? We didn't do nothing. I'm sorry. We didn't shoot them. We wasn't there. We didn't do nothing. Except one Negro. I'm gonna get to him. What up, Honorable? It was one, because when it first happened, obviously, like I said, they wanted a Negro to be somewhere involved. So they wanted a nigga somewhere, but it wasn't. But then they found one video after Charlie Kirk was shot. A black dude went past the protective rope and grabbed some hats and was passing it out to the other white people. I guess he was a Charlie Kirk supporter. So the white people who know he's a supporter of Charlie Kirk, this black dude, who's quote unquote stealing these hats and giving them to other white people, they called him a thief and said, look at what they do. It's like, wait, but he wanted y'all. He agreed with y'all. I guess for whatever reason, he wanted these hats and he decided to pass them out. But the white people weren't throwing them back at him, calling him a thief. They were taking the hat and putting it on with him. But you know, it is what it is. They had to find one. All right, let me show some more of these reactions by the Caucasians.
Do you support his death?
I do.
You support his death?
Fuck Charlie Kirk.
You support Charlie Kirk being killed?
Yes, I do.
On the day he died, you're here at a vigil for Charlie Kirk and you support his death.
Do you support a Nazi?
No, I don't support a Nazi. Charlie Kirk wasn't a Nazi. You support his shooter?
Yep, sure do. Freedom.
You support Charlie Kirk's shooter?
Sure do. He did us all a favor.
Would you shoot somebody like Charlie Kirk?
I would have killed him myself.
This dude.
You would have killed him yourself? Okay. Do you have a job here in Seattle?
Nope, I do TikTok for a living.
Nope, I do TikTok for a living. Honorable says anti-black sentiment is all they got as a white unifier. True. Now I found out this dude right here who's saying all this big stuff. They found a picture of him. The white people. They found this picture of him right here. A picture of this fat white dude, the same dude who was saying that he don't mind his death. He celebrated having a shirt on saying "I love black women." Oh, they was mad at the Jews for this one, wouldn't they? All right, let me play a little bit more.
The best part of this whole goddamn thing is that he is not martyr material, so his death will mean nothing. It will activate no one. It will impact few. It's just great.
Now, she's wrong about that part. These type of people definitely would activate and motivate somebody. He's like, I could tell, I heard the black scent. I knew it when I saw the earring in his ear in the other video. I said, oh. And then when the white people found the picture, I said, there you go. I already knew.
All right, so boom, right?
All right, now we get into what the Negroes are saying, right? Yeah. We get to what the Negroes saying.
So, the Charlie Kirk nigga just got shot, right? I don't know if that nigga alive or not. The nigga might be dead or some shit. For those of y'all that don't know who Charlie Kirk is, he one of them folk. You know what I'm saying? Debbie talking about how we don't need gun control and all the rest of that shit and all the rest of that blah, blah, blah. Don't with the smile. With the smile. You know the one. This one.
This is crazy. Travis always said this joke. I don't know if he's joking. He said, I don't trust people with small teeth with too much gum.
Right? So, boom. So, this nigga gets shot, but this is the craziest part to me, right? So, everybody panicking because, oh my God, it's a shooter! Everybody panicking and shit, right? This nigga decides to take his phone out and this nigga...
It's your boy Elder TikTok. There was just a gunfire in Utah.
Everybody panicking because there's an active shooter nearby. And the first... Yo, subscribe to my...
Make sure you subscribe to Elder TikTok on Instagram.
What?
Now, I wonder... He's laughing. I wonder if he was a supporter of Charlie Kirk, because to be live at an event and see someone shot, and I know even from a long range, you saw that blood coming out of his neck, so you know it hit. You could have been a good distance away and still saw that. To immediately hop on your phone and say, subscribe to my TikTok, follow me. My name is that. It's like, that's that age we're in now, the social media age where people just, maybe he wasn't a fan, or maybe he didn't care. Maybe he was there to do content from the get-go. So when he got shot, it was like, oh, I can go viral. That's how he was thinking, I guess. Is it crazy that CK does favor the Charlie Brown character? Yeah.
What is the world right now?
The world is crazy. Now I want to show this before I get into all the other black reactions, right? So like I said, they kept threatening black people. As a matter of fact, they started threatening and targeting black colleges around the country. Dre said, okay, I'm back now. My Wi-Fi was tripping. All right. So you see this right here. Black students at colleges across the U.S. targeted with racist threats day after Charlie Kirk killing. FBI says the threats were hoax calls, although universities took measures to prevent incidents on campus. Think about it for a second. Now, you can say this is a day later, they didn't know who shot who. But the fact your first reaction, that's how you know who the real enemy is. Who they think the real enemy is. The second this happens, the first thing they do is attack both verbally and try to do it physically and threaten to do it physically is you. You are the first person that comes to their mind as to who's the real threat and who's the real enemy.
We are now following breaking news about a string of threats at a number of historically black colleges and universities today. NBC's Kelly O'Donnell is following this for us. What can you tell us, Kelly?
Well, Chris, I think this is at this point in the abundance of caution phase, where universities that are a part of the HBU system, the historically black colleges, a number of them in Virginia, also in Alabama, saying that they have received threats and therefore taking action to lock down a campus or cancel classes or send out warnings to students and to the university community. Obviously, just one day after the Charlie Kirk assassination, in an environment where we have seen a lot of gun violence and a lot of acting out of dangerous threats where citizens can be inadvertently involved in a dangerous circumstance. This is the kind of thing where universities, as they assess a situation, make a determination for what is best for their community and to try to reduce the potential for any harm. By locking down or canceling classes, it clearly reduces the amount of foot traffic. It allows authorities to follow through on any leads. We have made outreach to different kinds of law enforcement, from the federal to the state level and local communities, as well as the Department of Education. And at this point, we don't have a sense of where this is coming from or how connected it may be.
It's very connected, obviously. That's the obvious point. But I want to show this here. I'm going to show this before I get to all the other stuff. Because somebody posted this and it was, this is my reaction to this shooting.
Contribute? Say something.
You want me to say something? Fine. I'll say something. You people. You're not a race. You are a virus. You destroy the world. Everything beautiful you poison. You drag us from our homes. You rape our daughters, murder our sons. You crack our spines and do all you can to break our will. You stab us. Then you put the knife in our hand and tell us it's our fault. And if you don't do it yourself, you stand by, close your eyes, and pretend there's nothing wrong. And then you pray to your God to silence our screams so that you can enjoy the happiness that we built for you with our blood. But it's not your fault. It's the only way you know how to be. And the only thing that will change anything is if another virus comes along and does to you what you do to us.
Virginia says, crazy work. A white nationalist talking about gang violence right before Bing in a predominantly white campus, white city, but worried about black people. Only a white man. It's hard. Exactly. That's Esau for you, definitely. Can't help who he is. You are forever going to be an enemy. When you understand that, you know how to move. Was that posted on X? No, actually, I saw some, Travis brought it up to me. Somebody didn't post it, but they mentioned it. This reminded me of that rant from that show about, I forgot his name now. He's unfortunately, now he's known for the TV show Scandal. But somebody mentioned that, and then Travis mentioned it, and I went and found it, and I'm using it. I think it's called Dinner Tonight or something. I'll find it if I need it. Let's get to what the blacks were saying. First, we'll get to the supporters of Charlie Kirk. Not even supporters, but the people that defended him. See what they had to say. Start with Stephen A. Smith.
Black man born in America. I know what problems that exist in this country. But I also know there's far more good people than there are bad people in this country, regardless of who you are, what your ethnic background is. White, black, Hispanic, and beyond. I'm in a studio here in Las Vegas, and I'm looking outside, and I see people looking at me and smiling and saying, "What's up, Stephen?" They don't look anything like me. And I don't care, because they're showing me love, and I'm showing love right back to them. At some point in time, we got to recognize, can't just speak about it. Can't just give lip service to when such a vile act takes place. And we're going to give lip service to the tragedy of the moment, and then within 24 hours, we move on with our lives like nothing happened. Something did happen. Don't care what his political beliefs were. I don't care what he felt. I care about the fact that a man was gunned down in front of two of his children who are 5 years of age or less. That he's dead at the age of 31. That his wife is a widow. That his children are fatherless. Because his ideas and his beliefs differed from somebody else, apparently. And then I'm going online and I'm seeing people celebrating it. Shame. Shame on you.
Now, this is what Stephen A. Smith decided to go on his show and say. You know, it's funny. When people like this die, how often this idea of this morality of, hey, we supposed to not do this. He had a child. He had a wife. He had a family. But I saw Charlie Kirk, and you can go look at it now, has dozens of tweets mocking and constantly using the name of George Floyd in a mocking manner. Called that man everything but a child of God. Now, I know George Floyd was not no, whatever. It is what it is. Who he was is who he was. But the same way when he died, he's supposed to have gotten some level of he's dead. He had children. He had a family. They didn't give him that. He became a mascot for everything they believe was wrong with this country. They put that man's face on robots. They made cartoons of him. They made 3D claymation of him, mocking his death. They did the same thing with Trayvon Martin. When these young teenage kids back in the day during when Trayvon Martin was killed, had something called Trayvoning online, with this trend where they would lay on the ground in a hoodie and call it Trayvoning. So they mock your deaths, but when you do the same to them, you're wrong. Dre said, no need to unite. It's pointless, but they're going to get theirs, and they know it too. They know. This is their end for them. This is their last chance of the kingdom. Daddy Pope, Joe Morton, was the best thing about Skinny. Yeah, that's his name, Pope, on the show. Brandon Tatum. Did Stephen A. Smith, ESPN handlers tell him to see this? Martin Luther King was an awful and bad person, Charlie Kirk. And now his supporters are saying Charlie Kirk is the modern day Martin Luther King. This man said Martin Luther King was a awful, terrible person, and that he was going to destroy the myth of Martin Luther King. And now his supporters are calling him Martin Luther King for getting killed. This is what these people, it's just crazy. This man, I saw people making a point of prove he was racist. What did he say racist, right? And then people bring up the quote video of him saying how black women don't have the intellectual ability to be trusted in certain jobs and stuff. And they said, no, he was talking about particular women. He's talking about Kamala and yada, yada, yada. He wasn't talking about all black women. He was talking about particular 4 women. And then the quote of him saying, I don't trust when I see a black pilot, I automatically assume they're unqualified. And they said, well, he's saying that because DEI. He's saying that if before DEI, he would have never thought to question the credentials of a black pilot. But because the DEI exists and it lowers the standard for somebody to be a pilot, he don't trust it. But he's 31. His whole life DEI has existed. The fact that they're acting like DEI only existed the last 10 years is crazy. It's been around for decades. His whole life, DEI existed. And the fact that he knows, this is what make it racist, by the way. It's not that he said that. What make it racist is him making the point and making it seem like it's black people that benefited from DEI or affirmative action when he knows, because he likes statistics, he likes charts. He read them wrong, but he know what the numbers are. It is his women, white women, who benefited from DEI and affirmative action. So seeing a black pilot, you should know that they definitely did their job to get in here, especially when you see one, because I remember when it went viral when there was a black pilot that had dreads and a grill. Dreads and I don't know if it's a grill or earring or something. And people say, I wouldn't trust that as my pilot. Well, the fact that he looks like that and as a pilot, that means he more than aced every test he needed to do. He knows that the main people who benefited from that was his women, but he made it seem like it's black people who are getting over. But which was pretty much his whole message. These people have been trying to convince people that in America, the actual people who are being oppressed, quote unquote, is white people. They've been trying to push this since they got Trump in office, that it's actually white people being oppressed right now, when it was white women benefiting from all those social safety nets. It's white women who are benefiting the most from welfare. It's white women benefiting from affirmative action and DEI and these job programs and these scholarship programs and It's them. How are you painting this as a black thing? That's what makes it racist. Or maybe he's just being disingenuous. I don't know. He said 10 years ago, he was talking that stuff. Them folks don't miss a beat to harvest black energy from name, likeness, ideas, you name it. You're right. There was a white woman pilot that flipped the Canadian airplane upside down in Toronto. Wasn't there a white woman that was driving a helicopter that almost crashed in D.C. or the one that did crash in D.C.? Did they ever turn out to be a white woman or was it somebody else? The initial narrative was that it was a black pilot, and then they said, no, it's not a black pilot. It was a white woman. I don't know. Let's move forward. Yeah, let's make it crazy. Here you go. Now, this person disappointed me. And I'm not saying I agree with things she say all the time, but she came off as a little bit of a normal, in some ways, normal conservative, black conservative. This is Angela Stanton King. This is what she said on X. She said, I'm done with the race war. This isn't about color. It's about truth. At the end of the day, there's only one race, the human race. Please stop saying that. Stop saying that, please. Division thrives when we focus on labels and categories that were never meant to define our worth. The history of the planet is separation. Throughout history, people separate. Not just racially, ethnically, religiously. People separate for any reason. The whole idea of assimilation is because you can't be different in another group. You have to mix yourself with them. That's the entire point. What truly matters is integrity, compassion, and the courage to stand for what's right. Unity begins when we see each other not as black, white, or anything in between, but as people created equal, deserving of love and justice. Equal doesn't exist. There's always a top dog. And if you're so-called a Christian, you know that. Nowhere in the Bible does it preach equality. It says there's one race that's my people, that's my group, and there's everybody else underneath them. He said there's spit in a bucket. There's no equality. What did she post that? I'm in bed. I don't know why she posted this. I was very disappointed. I beg to differ, as there are many species on Earth called humanoids, but they not like. Now look at this. You don't get assassinated for lying. And she put a picture of Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., and the Kennedys, and put Charlie Kirk next to them. Like, bruh.
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
Very disappointed in her for that. Very disappointed. And what's crazy is she got the check mark on X, but you did all that and got 94,000 views on this post. So I don't even know if she was trying to farm views or not. I'm not saying she was trying to do it for money. It's an unfortunate truth that she believes this. It's crazy. And somebody posted this, and let me play this. Somebody really posted this in the comments. Let me play this.
You a coon. You a coon.
It's crazy, man. It's unfortunate. Very disappointed. Now let me play some of these funnier the black people mocking the people who crying.
Sat up there and unlied Master Son. I'm heard about that one. They done sat up there and unlied Charlie Kirk. That was one of Master's best sons. He always stood up for what's right. See, y'all gotta understand here. Master help us. Master take care of us. Master love us. You can't sit up there and celebrate nobody's death. They done hurt Master. When you hurt Master and you hurt Master people, you hurt me. Cause I live in a house. I live in a slave house. And we love Master over here.
That was a lot of the content being posted. Let me play this one.
Right before Charlie Kirk got popped, someone asked him, "Do you know how many mass shootings have happened in America in the past 10 years? He replied, Counting or not counting gang violence. Then pop, he was about to shift the blame for mass shootings on us. And now for some reason, 8 historically black colleges and universities are under threat. Campus lockdowns and all. All this because Charlie got popped in Utah, where the black population is 1.2%.
Later with Master.
What is it about whiteness that y'all can never blame yourselves? How did you come to the conclusion that you are as sinless as Christ himself? And now they want to put a statue of Lil Charlie in the U.S. Capitol, comparing him to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Do you know what school Lil Charlie went to? That would give him the authority to speak on religion, to speak on race, to speak on politics. No, you don't. Because Lil Charlie dropped out of Harper College in Chicago. His first claim to fame was stopping a price increase on cookies at his high school. You can't make this up. Then he wrote an article for Breitbart, alleging liberal bias in textbooks. That affirmative action him in appearance on Fox Business. This is your king? Because the only one I know is Dr. King. PhD in systematic theology from Boston University. The one who wrote 5 books, who electrified the masses, and didn't have to cut his speeches into clips to do so. You see, what y'all not gonna do is conflate these two legacies. Because Dr. King challenged America to live up to the democracy it claimed to be. Lil Charlie, he just repeated fascism, Christian fundamentalism, without critical thinking, might I add, misogyny, really anything that got him paid. America, not only are we not your scapegoat, you really don't even deserve to live in our shadows.
Okay. Price increase on cookies in high school. He was fighting for the people. I'm not gonna play this whole thing because it's 5 minutes. I'm gonna play a little bit of Charleston White. Now, Charleston White, he's one of those people who has admitted that he's created this character online because whenever he did the work in his actual city and stuff, he didn't garner as much attention as it was needed. So he created this character to be a caricature of what black people, he say, want, the entertainment they want. They speak the way he said they want him to speak, but he tried to mix in what he considered to be some truth. But he said some wild stuff most of the time. But in this, he started talking crazy about Charlie Kirk. And the white people that love him got mad at him. And so he threw the hypocrisy in their face.
Say shit when I say it to the niggers. When I'm fucking trolling the niggers about their dead babies and dead mammies, you don't say shit. So what do you mean fucking why? I'm a fucking comedian. I get the fuck with anybody. Satire comedy is what we call it. Fuckers. How you gonna take that away from me? So Charlie's no exemption. Don't you fuckers joke about fentanyl Floyd? He's no different than a fucking fentanyl Floyd. Floyd was the Black Lives Matter movement. Kirk is a fucking white ring conservative movement. We get to joke about one another. Remember? Liberal, conservative, nigger, black. Come on, immigrant. So why is it fucking you want to get in your fucking... This is not America that beat British. I'm telling you. These are not the fucking Americans that beat the redcoats. These are the pussies. These are not the Americans that could have stopped 9/11. In your fucking feelings all the fucking time. These are the fucking Americans that's crying because you didn't get picked on the fucking playground because someone said something about you. Who gives a fuck about the dead? Charlie can't hear shit I'm saying. Charlie's dead. Even your fucking Bible says, let the dead. Why are you guys worshiping and honoring the dead? Even your fucking Bible says it.
I said that. That man stood in front of that crowd and said, F Charlie Kirk. They said USA and beat his ass. They Christians. They threw their setup. He threw his setup. F Charlie. They threw their setup. USA. And they started banging on him. That game.
This is the pussy Americans. You will not beat China. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, this America cannot beat North Korea.
Honorable says, is MAGA money drying up? Lots of people seem to be moving differently. Well, that normally happens every cycle. I feel like this cycle happened a little late because during the Biden cycle, it wasn't that much money for most people as far as these influencers. Trying to get behind Biden and the Democrats just don't generate as much money because you're not saying anything that you're not going to get much money from the liberals, and the right wing obviously going to give you no money either. So Trump era brings money to these influencers like this, these people that call themselves comedians and people that troll people online with satire and parodies and stuff. I don't know if it's drying up. I don't think Trump has the support he had, obviously, months ago, let alone years ago. So, that Israel thing is weighing heavy. And those Epstein files, they ain't forgot. They ain't forgot about those Epstein files. And I think that's really hurting him. He's tried to do some things to try to move them away from that. They're not budging. So the same way the Democrats or the liberals are not asking for the files because Biden not in office no more, his supporters are still asking for those files. We don't care. We want them. And like I said, Israel, I think the Republican side is split now because a lot of them just ain't with the Israel stuff no more. They're trying to, I'll say the hard right, they're kind of becoming more anti-Israel versus the more moderates are still evangelical Christians who support Israel. You know, the whole thing of if you bless Israel, I'll bless you. And that's the way they've been trying to get that scam off, even though we know they ain't the peoples. The land is downtrodden. You're not supposed to be there. All right, Umar. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But Umar came out and said something about Charlie Kirk, saying how we shouldn't, he said, I would never ask you to mourn the loss of an enemy of our race. So he referred to him as an enemy. But to celebrate an unaliving is completely unacceptable. We know all too well the greatest recipient of political assassinations in this country have been our own people. Stop laughing at the misfortunes of others and get prepared politically. Political assassinations have returned to the United States of America, courtesy of the deep state. Now, people were mad with him for basically saying, don't laugh at his death. But I also saw him saying, if they killed him, that means anybody else is on the table now. We back here. We back in the 60s now. Well, they'll be taking people out every 2 or 3 years. So you laugh now, cry later as he's trying to warn. And let me play this here. Dag Nabbit, Dr. Umar ain't made a grip, he ain't willing to exploit you. Hey, he's telling people, he called him an enemy and he's telling people to prepare. Let's leave it at that.
I even think that we should bring back, public executions on certain people. No, but think about it. I think that, and you guys should laugh, it should be public, it should be quick, it should be televised. By the way, you could fund the government
to watch it.
You could have brought to you by Coca-Cola, and no, I'm not kidding. In fact,
it's so crazy how many things he said. As people keep saying, the tongue is a mighty sword. Be careful. Things you say. Y'all didn't see the screen there, did you? Hold on.
Even think that we should bring back, public executions on certain people. No, but think about it. I think that, and you guys should laugh, it should be public, it should be quick, it should be televised. By the way, you could fund the government
to watch it.
You could have brought to you by Coca-Cola, and no, I'm not kidding.
They put a Coca-Cola ad on it. That's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. I also want to show this before we get too far along. Because speaking of public execution, let me play this right quick. How crazy this sounded. So before this Charlie Kirk assassination, there was an attack by a black man in North Carolina on a Ukrainian woman. I'm sure y'all saw that. It was bubbling. The Ukrainian woman was attacked on a bus, I believe, by a black man. He was sitting behind her. He was sitting in front of him. He came across and he attacked her and he hit her across the neck or something. I can't remember, with a weapon. And that was growing. That was bubbling. And then obviously Charlie Kirk gets killed, and it kind of changes the whole narrative, the whole story. So with that story, they were saying this guy clearly has mental issues. What should we do with the homeless people and the people with mental illnesses? Fox News had this to say.
They have given billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Now, hold on. The dude said involuntary lethal injection. Kill them. These are homeless people, mentally ill people this dude's talking about. Now, the black dude was shocked by this. Look at his face when the white dude said this. He was like, oh, he started agreeing, then he paused like, wait, what you say? Watch this.
That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something.
Yep. Whoa. What? Kill him?
Just kill him.
Brian, why?
They have.
Yeah, he do sound loose, actually. Did he actually say it? Yeah, poetic. Regina said, that's what Proverbs 8:21 is all about. Life and death, the power of the tongue. Yeah. Honorable says, haven't been watching TV. Are you playing this Kirk killing like they did those George Floyds repeatedly? I don't know about TV. I don't watch cable television. But I know they're throwing on your timeline every 5 seconds. For whatever reason. The internet, you go on any platform, you seeing that white shirt, him sit there in that blurry footage, and you're like, oh, let me dodge that. I don't want to see that again. All right, let me play a little bit of this one.
There was a dark cloud over this. There's a dark cloud.
My spirit was low. This is a black pastor coming to the defense of Charlie Kirk. Said his spirit was low. It was cloudy. There's a black cloud over this country.
Over this nation. I woke up encouraged. The verse I got was to be absent in the body.
Absent in the body. He trained.
To be present with the Lord. And I was just in the presence, just praying this morning and meditating. And I think we're all taking this hard for a reason. There's a dark cloud over America, and I could barely sleep.
So this is part of his grift. Let me move to his next video. Hold on.
I think the death of Charlie Kirk is the most momentous event since MLK Kennedy getting shot. I really believe that. There is not an event that has touched more people. Everybody that's writing me how they're crying, and I've been wrecked all day. Right?
Oh, he's a wreck. Y'all hear that? He's a wreck.
Right? I don't even know him. I've never met him. I followed him, of course.
Now, keep in mind, he said he never met him, but if you go to his page, he said that Charlie Kirk changed his life, made him care about politics. That's what he said. But now he never met the man, didn't know him. So we know what this grift is about. Honorable says the role of black men needs to be this isn't about just them being black men. These are dudes that's hustling. These dudes know that in a time like this, a black face saying this may get a lot of support from a certain demographic, and they're trying to get the money on, trying to get the funds. To me, unless you watch YouTube, most blacks ain't never heard of CK, so all this outrage and sentiment is fake. That's what I'm saying. Presidential candidate, that seems a bit extreme. Y'all see the protest or the march they was having over in the UK by Tommy Robinson, aka 5 other names, who's clearly somebody who's being hired to be a agitator. I don't know how that Tommy Robinson dude still got followers. The man has multiple names. That clearly means you shouldn't trust him. Also, was South Korea. South Korea has some rallies for Charlie Kirk. That tells me, all I need to know. The UK and South Korea. All right. But next up, Mr. Tatum.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
He already deep into character.
I know some of you guys may have heard the news.
This guy is the worst. This guy is the worst.
Oh, I haven't watched.
Bro, you
video.
You care.
People
0%.
have said that they're.
This cares 0%. But he out here acted his ass off. Shout out to Officer Fakem. Shout out to this fat rascal right here. This fat, musty rascal right here. Shout out.
So Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens did their deep, heartfelt post on social media about their friendships, how broken and devastated they are. I was thinking Nick ended this black hustle for them. This is crazy survival. Hey, Nick told them to their face, you'll never be one of us. We don't care. You're still a nigga. He didn't care. Like you're not one of us. Matter of fact, when these white nationalists, when they call themselves patriots on X, when they host these spaces and these black people, these black conservatives go into the spaces, they'll tell them this is a nigger free zone. Leave. And they'll just take it and leave. It's like, bro, what is wrong with y'all? You realize you're no longer dealing with the moderate right wingers who don't fuck with you. You're dealing with the hardcore. I'm gonna tell you, you're dealing with those people, and you still think you can grift off of them. They know what you're doing. They're not falling for it. They're past the age of wanting you to tell you. They don't want you to tell them they're not racist anymore. They don't want to stand next to you to prove they're not racist. They don't care. And you still trying to cozy up to them and make a couple dollars. It's crazy. I want to show this. I'm about to get into Israel, how they may tie into this. Brennan Tatum apparently went to Israel. And while there, he got spit on. And listen to his reaction. We're talking to Benjamin Netanyahu.
In Israel, if you actually talk to the majority of Christians, talk to them, you'll see what they say. They say Israel is the only place where we're respected and protected.
And I can attest to that as a Christian who went to Israel. I spent 2 weeks there with the church, and we had an incredible time. We had only one incident where a small child spit on one of the pastors, and immediately after, there was an adult that came by and said, "That's not a representation of who we are. You know, we love you guys. You guys are always welcome here." And I have to say, no adults gave us any grief. We had no issues whatsoever in our experience there. It was actually an amazing experience.
In Israel,
you do understand the reason why that kid spit on you, right? Because since he was a baby, they've been teaching him that you are goyim. They've taught him that he is superior to you. That's why he spit on you. I keep bringing that video up because it pissed me off when I saw it. When it was an old Israeli couple and it was an older black woman sitting down at a table and they was dancing around, the black woman just thinking they're just chilling, and he walks up and throws up on her. He didn't spit on you because he's just a kid. It's because he was trained and taught you are beneath him. But you know, your dumb ass, it was just a kid. Yeah, all right. I hope they have Marvin Gaines. I hope you have some Marvin Gaines. I ain't got no Marvin Gaines. Marvin Gaines he's a less talented grifter than to me. He's more of a shock jock at this point. He just says stuff to be like, he don't even seem like he believes anything he says. Like, everything he says is just meant to try and piss you off, honestly. Honorable says, now that Trump administration claims they will be checking immigrant socials, you think they're turning up with the Kirk situation, or they have it, they have it in their history? Maybe. The immigrant thing is kind of crazy. Like I said, they're going after people in the military with government jobs. If you say something about Charlie Kirk, they own you. And then the State Department threatened that if you are an immigrant who say anything about Charlie Kirk, they threaten to deport people. And I'm gonna say it again. This man did not have any he did not sit in office. He was just a civilian. What is going on? It's crazy. Paul Mooney said it's years ago, so we need to teach our black child to spit on him for respect. I agree with that part. Ever since that, I already wasn't a obviously supporter or a fan of him, but with the Ahmaud Arbery situation told me that he's willing to go to the depths of hell to appease that audience and get some money. I knew it then. The Ahmaud Arbery situation, it was no going back. It reminds me a lot of Larry Elder. If you listen to Larry Elder on any other topic, he sounds regular, normal, kind of sensible, common sense dude. But when you start talking about race in certain situations, he goes extreme, and you know what it is. When Larry Elder went over to the UK and spoke about Trayvon Martin the way he did, when he said, I would love to have Zimmerman as a neighbor and all that other stuff, I was like, there's no coming back. Like, why go that far? Like, you grifting, but you went too far. I always joke to Travis, Omarosa did it the best. Omarosa stood next to Trump and came out unscathed. She never told you what her political beliefs was, really. She said, I support Trump. And then when she got away from Trump, she wrote a book kicking his back in, went to church, got it, and moved on with her life and was able to move on. Y'all don't know how to finesse the situations. Anyway. We can move forward. Oh, to this. Now, remember when, they talking crazy. When Trump was shot, remember immediately, quickly, people found the man was sitting on top of a damn building. He was laying on top of a building right next to them when he tried to snipe Trump. Now we have a deja vu. It's the same situation. They're saying that the man who shot Charlie Kirk apparently was on this building, laying down. And there's another video of him climbing down the building where they think that that's where he shot from. Now, this isn't a situation with the same comparable to Trump, because Trump has Secret Service. There's supposed to be people who scout the area, and make sure there's no threats. So the fact that the man was able to lay on top of a building a little, not even as long of a distance as this, and have a chance to shoot the president is just crazy. That's why people thought it was a false flag. So this obviously was a man who had no security. He thought he was able to move around because he's in Utah around white people at a college full of white people. And we saw the results. So now they ask the question, who really did it? Even if you believe that the young dude who they saying did it is the one who did it, who put the hit out on him? That was a good shot. That was just a good shot. Now you see there's a video here of these two men that were standing behind Charlie Kirk, and people are saying that these dudes were doing military movements, or hand gestures, should I say, or signals, that possibly was telling the person to fire. Virginia says facts regarding both Larry and Omarosa. Let me play this.
Those of us who served in the military are a little bit aware of hand signals being thrown up. And these two men need to really be looked into with some of the sniper-looking signals, especially coming from the guy in the white and the guy in the black.
So you see, I'm gonna read some of this. They were giving the signals, the sniper signal versus watch to see. And then she showed touching the side of the face in a military context, often by rubbing the cheek, is a hand signal to indicate the presence of a male individual. On the other hand, to face signals include female. Some users suggest touching the chest to indicate a female. Standardized signals can vary between different military units.
And the guy in the black.
See here, he straight arm with his other arm folded, with his hand going into his elbow or across his chest, should I say. A signal hand held straight out in front of the body with the palm down and moving in a horizontal arc repeatedly means commence firing. When executed rapidly, it means to increase the rate of fire. When executed slowly, it means to decrease the rate of fire. Target identification. Some tactical signals involve pointing at a target. The sniper might point to the area and indicate movement or use the pointing gesture. William said the shooter is the old guy with a jacket and glasses right next to Charlie. So you think it's the same thing that people were, the speculation or the theory that people were using with JFK? Well, people had the theory of the one shooter, the magic bullet, the 3-4 shooters that shot at him at the same time. And then you have people that believe it was the dude sitting, it was somebody that was sitting next to JFK. I don't know about that one, but maybe. Honorable says he did have security, and I saw something that the dude did it because Kirk wasn't racist enough. Well, yeah, he called him a fascist, which people are trying to paint him as a left-leaning person. When I say security, I mean, you're right, he has security. I should have said he didn't have a secret service. He didn't have that level of security where they're checking buildings and the roofs on the a mile radius or whatever, as they should have did with Trump. Then they went through some other stuff. I want to make sure they don't show. Let me make sure it don't show the shooting in this one. Hold on, y'all. Let me make sure it don't show the bullet. No, it don't. Okay.
Not counting gang violence. Great.
The left arm crossing the torso. I think I just read that one. Imminent danger. Yeah, so I got it. Yeah. So now I'm gonna play this little part. And when he makes the final signal, that's the part when he said gang violence.
In America over the last 10 years.
Counting or not counting gang violence.
Great.
Wow. So right when he did the arm, he was saying the word gang violence, and, immediately the shot happened. So that's, if you believe that they were giving military signals, that's one theory. So now you got to believe, well, who did it? Who set the hit up? I hate to see all these think pieces. Geez, his security might have been compromised by the Mormon church. Maybe. What was his, did he believe? Because Mormon, they known for having the multiple wives and all the other stuff, but the Mormon book was, if you look at the history of that, it's pretty much a cult. So it is what it is. They have this to show where the bullet went in, hit two main arteries. It was If he directly shot to the neck, it would be considered a perfect shot. But then there's a theory that the bullet hit the chest and ricocheted to the neck, which may be why people have the other conspiracy that it was tiny hats that did it. Let me show that. This is what Charlie Kirk was saying about Israel.
That Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, that there was
Robert Maxwell, who died on a private yacht in the middle of the ocean at midnight.
something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part.
Epstein was a fake professor who taught what was it called? Spiritual math. He taught spiritual math at a prestigious school in New York.
Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. The sweatpants and the Harvard jacket, the kind of disheveled hair, looking as if he was so smart and above the clouds that he was doing advanced mathematic equations on the back of napkins. But if you actually go into some of the videos of people that met with Epstein at the time, they said he was awfully unimpressive when it came to finance and markets and economics. And it's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just a hired gun. Maybe he was just the guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis. Jeffrey Epstein was not a financier. He was not a hedge fund manager. Jeffrey
Epstein was, what's the name of that clothing brand? Victoria's Secret. That's where Epstein get his money from. Look it up. The person who created owner or founder, whatever you want to call him, he's the one, that's the person who Epstein got a lot of his money from.
Epstein was a key player in a multi-decade blackmail operation against the most powerful people on the planet.
Epstein had a home that was directly behind the Vatican's home in New York, or the Pope's house in New York. We went through this already years ago. Epstein was an extremely interesting rabbit hole. It's just crazy.
It goes to the point where...
hold on. Jenny said, Rosenbart said she grew up Mormon and they're all gay, hiding in marriages. Another conspiracy for you.
If, for example, if I have less ability sometimes online to criticize the Israeli government without backlash than actual Israelis do. It's
been
almost
so
as if
unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Like, I host a person that I moderate the debate of, mind you, right? And I give equal time to Josh Hammer, equal time to a pro-Israel advocate, and my moral character is being put into question. And so I think it's a hyper paranoid, like, we're just going to try to, we're going to just stamp out everything type of practice.
It's like there's some rule you can't go there when it comes to Israel.
Well, you and I believe that we're Americans and Americans first, period. End of story. We are citizens of this nation, okay?
That's right.
Israel, we have funded, we have supported, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. But
as you can see, that's where they could have went. So that's that thing where people believe the Mossad or Israel allegedly saw his level of influence that maybe I didn't even see growing, and that his messaging when it came to Israel could have been a detriment to them. And so And now back to what I meant to say an hour ago, but I interrupted myself. And this ties into Trump. When Trump first announced, he's the one who announced that Charlie Kirk was dead, right? And then immediately he was doing an interview outside of at the White House, and they asked him about it. He says it's a terrible, it's terrible, yada yada yada. And then he talked about a ballroom he has coming. He just kind of was so nonchalant about it. Is it possible that certain people told Trump, hey, we're going to do this? And he said, do what you got to do. And he kind of just moving on about his business. Or was this supposed to be some type of false flag that went wrong? Or was this a situation where some lonely kid decided to do something like this, and now this is just the blowback from it, where it benefits certain people without them even having to do anything? I don't know. Charlie Kirk used to be pro-Israel. He must have saw some funny style stuff behind the scenes that he was against Israel. Well, no, a lot of these people, I talked about it last week with the what's his name, Conscious Lee and Amanda Seal. These people who try and play the whole politics and political pundit and commentators, they tend to rebrand a lot. Now you can say as you get older, you change your views on things when you get more information, but a lot of it is a complete rebranding. People like this went from right wing to, hey, I'm telling the truth. You know, we tell the truth. We're gonna critique everyone to be at the center of everything, so that I'm never really wrong. I don't really have to give you a strong opinion on certain politics. I can stick to the social stuff. I can tell you I don't support trans. I'm against homosexuality. I'm a Christian. When it gets to actual policy and stuff, I don't have to give you a strong stance on anything. Foreign policy, I can just say I'm telling the truth about everybody. I'm gonna talk about Russia and China and Israel and Iran, and I'm just giving the real news, and they really not giving a strong opinion on anything. But anyway, and this right here, I saw this. It says, I'm not going to name names, but I was told by someone close to Charlie Kirk, which means this is just third party. It's not even something that's believable, but they said that this is immediately after he was shot. Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them. So that's their whole theory. Then y'all bring up the Mormon. I don't know. I think go live yesterday, but I think more, if you care about this story past this week, obviously will be revealed in like a month or so, because the people that support him are going to keep digging, and you're going to have people to try to use this as a platform for their campaigns coming up. So people who want to run for office, whatever, local offices, they're going to use this as a platform now. So they'll be calling for more information and then a real investigation and yada yada yada. So we'll see. Anyway, so this graphic video of Charlie Kirk's death spreads fast, showing traditional media's fading grip. And I just want this last part of this headline. I'm not gonna read the article. Showing traditional media's fading grip, and it leads me right into this. If y'all remember, I talked about this. Well, actually last year. Is this right? Writers say they were dupes in an alleged Russian influence operation. They're keeping their millions for now. So Dave Rubin and a couple of Tim, I forgot his name, Tim something, the guy here with the headphones. A year ago, they got caught up in the fact they were taking money from these companies that they say they didn't know was being backed or funded by Russia. So technically, they were taking Russian money. They said they didn't know. They thought it was with a third party companies. They didn't know that Russia was funding it. Yada yada yada. So this was a big deal. These big right wing platforms were proven, and they admitted when Russia, they unbeknownst to them, doesn't matter. But now the same thing is happening on the other side of the aisle. I definitely don't think that the white young man was a lone wolf. The young white man that unalived the black people in Buffalo at Tops grocery market was corresponding with the FBI agent, allegedly. I didn't keep up on that story because the initial reaction was his rhetoric he used in his manifesto, and you tend to I focused on that a little bit too much maybe. I didn't even keep a eye on that developing stuff. I'm sure it might be even more to that I didn't even keep up with. Mystery Man, what up? Charlie Kirk died from fentanyl. Yeah, he didn't die from a bullet wound, or a gunshot, or a sniper shot. He died from blood loss. But so that was last year, and now this is a media company called Chorus. Chorus is a creator-led nonprofit organization dedicated to helping content creators expand their reach and educate their audiences about news and public policy issues that impact their lives. Founded by a group of content creators in December 2024, that was right after the Russian stuff, Chorus is recruiting, training, keep that in mind, recruiting, training, and supporting independent online voices and build the next era of online news and conversation. Now, what it's not telling you is they are left-leaning, Democrat, right? Virginia says, the white man ain't never willing to give enough coins. Never. So this right here, shout out to Tim Black. Which I got this from. Where a typical and a usual suspect has been dragged into this story. So let me play this clip here.
Last year, sometimes some right-wing influencers and content creators in independent media got called out for taking money from the Russians. Yeah, they had their hands up and they were taking rubles, I don't know, whatever money they use in Russia, they were taking money from the Russians. And they were reporting their media a certain kind of way. And I don't know. It was people like Benny Johnson, and Tim Pool, and I don't even know what happened to that. What happened to that? Anything happen? Nah, they just kept on taking money. So it's all these conservative white guys taking money on that side. Well, guess what? It appears Democrats were doing the same thing. Democrats were doing it, and even one of your favorite people, Roland Martin, looks like he's on the take. I know you're surprised, right? Not Roland. Roland would be taking money, yeah, from like Democratic leaning, liberal leaning, yeah. Check it out.
David Pakman has been exposed working with the Chorus Project, which has been paying him $8,000 a month.
It's in the second paragraph. It mandated extensive secrecy about disclosing their payments and had restrictions on what sort of political content creators could produce.
You hear that? It controlled the content they can produce.
That means they're dictating your content directly in the contract.
David Pakman has been scrambling, trying to respond. He came out with a video where he tries to justify.
Virginia says, is Tim Black a conservative or liberal? I get confused while watching him because he's a real independent. That's why I respect Tim Black. He's an actual independent. He kicked both sides back in. And he actually gives strong opinion on stuff. He actually gives his opinion on it and he stands on it. And sometimes it put him on this side, sometimes on the other. But he stays true to what he believes, and whatever side picks it up, he supports it. But that he got radicalized, I feel like, when him and Jimmy Dore went back and forth. When he was trying to center black issues, talking about Tim Black, and Jimmy Dore told him, get out of here with that, what they call it now? I forgot the word they used to use. They don't even use that word no more. Basically, identity politics. Like, get out of here with the identity politics. And he got offended by that. What do you mean? I'm a black man. I'm going to say something that benefits black people. And so they had a little back and forth, and he got into it with a couple other, what they call progressives. And the progressives, just like the right wingers, don't like identity politics. They are about rainbow coalition building. They call themselves Marxists or communists. So they are against the identity or separate identities. They want everybody to be gray. No black, white, just gray. Everybody the same thing with the same ambitions, with the same agency. 1984, basically.
Justify everything.
Since this article came out, I've heard from a bunch of you. David, did you sell out? David is the DNC telling you what to say. How could you do this to us?
But where it gets really interesting is that the following day, he openly admits that he has been working directly for politicians. The hypocrisy here is staggering.
All right, I was not even going to talk about this.
Of course you weren't. You were getting paid not to talk about it.
I was named in an article in Wired yesterday, and the article is about a so-called dark money group.
It's not supposedly dark money group. It is. Had this article not come out, do you think David Pakman would have ever revealed this?
And I was not even going to give this the time of day.
Yeah, right. This is one of the biggest mistakes, if not the biggest mistake he's ever made.
Other creators, like a Twitch streamer named Hassan Piker, were covering this in ways that don't reflect the reality of the situation and are perpetuating falsehoods.
Let me jump to Rolly. I won't gotta listen to all this. He was getting paid off. Let me jump to what he said. Hold on.
You before making any decisions about our coverage so that I ensure.
Before we go any further, let me let you know. Dirty business. Dirty business, dirty business. And these guys were talking about the right wing doing it. The right wing doing the same thing that you're doing. Whenever you think the Democrats are calling out Republicans, you should always check, because you will find that they have already done with that whatever they're accusing Republicans of doing.
Exactly. Now, this right here is Roland Martin.
I've been beating the drum about growing the progressive media.
This is the guy who's the founder of Chorus. Now, you can see this is Roland Martin's YouTube page. He posted this himself, right? It says, Chorus takes on the far-right media. Join the fight for progressive voices.
Ecosystem for years now. We finally got an exciting update. I'm part of a team of creators that's created Chorus Media. Chorus is a creator-led group of voices from the left coming together to scale up, drive the conversation online, and try and rebalance the massive disparity at play on the left and the right.
You can't, there was when Trump first got in office, there was you can like Trump or not, that was a master class in campaigning. Chef's kiss. Because he was able to get the young audience to laugh. He was able to get the older audience engaged. I think he lost the older audience to Biden, but the younger audience, which he actually grew in 2024, he actually grew their audience to win again. As the jokes that the right wing used to always say, the left can't mean, which means they're not funny. They don't know how to be funny. Like you see Newsom and his team been on Twitter the last couple of weeks trying to be edgy and, super duper upfront and alpha, and it just looks corny. They don't know how to be funny. When Trump's campaign posted that video of what's the name of that group that sang that song? Look at this photograph, that song, and it was a picture of Biden's son, the laptop situation. That was funny and genius. It exposed you, and it was funny. Now, most of those people that were part of that campaign are not a part of that campaign now, obviously. But the left don't know how to do that. So now they're trying to do it through social media, trying to build up their own framework. Because most of the top political analysis, or should I say, most of the top independent political voices on social media are conservative. Or at least they're independent and always kicking the Democrats back in. So now they're trying to build an infrastructure, which I believe they really try to kick that into high gear with Michelle Obama and her podcast. Which, by the way, is that still on? Is that because it was going viral almost every week a couple months ago? What happened to that?
So here's the deal. Chorus is going to support left-wing creators in a bunch of tangible ways, funding editors and researchers and bookers, helping creators who are established on one platform make sure they've got a presence on the others, and coordinating our messaging. Now, for me specifically, I'm not going to accept any funding. That money needs to go to new creators and the folks who can help them grow, but I'll be focused on message coordination. It is felt for
message coordination. I'm going to control what you say. I'm going to give you the paper of what to read.
The last decade, like Republicans head into a morning meeting to get aligned on messaging, that disparity goes away now. If you'd like to support our efforts financially, that would be appreciated. You can click the link in the link tree in my bio. But otherwise, we can all play a role by supporting progressive creators on all platforms.
So this is Roland's actual YouTube. Now, he also posted this on his Instagram. He posted on his YouTube and his Instagram. Chorus takes on far-right media, reinvents how media and politics work. Join the fight for progressive voices. Chorus, Black Mom, Roland Martin Unfiltered, Black Star Network. This is the first smart thing I've heard so far. This is one of the people wrote. Virginia said, except if the perp or bad guy is black, then they default black identity politics, i.e. Hemi Dore, redacted, Lino Nation, all harbor microaggressions for black. Yeah, Jimmy, yeah, he has a little bit of that sometimes. I can definitely sense it. But yeah. He said that sounds super illegal. Well, you're controlling media. Basically, it's the same thing as like NPR. Well, not NPR. Yeah, NPR, which is basically that's a U.S. funded news outlet. Like they directly fund it from the United States government. They are state media. This is what this would be considered. This would be considered party media. These people are paid by the Democratic Party, or at least affiliates of it, to spread a messaging across social media. So, it is what it is. Let me do this. Then we get to this. Hold on. Okay. It's important because it doesn't exist. First of its kind HBCU prep school opening in New York City. Let me play this.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at some of the day's other top stories. More than 100,000 demonstrators packed the streets of London for a march organized by far-right activist Tommy Robinson, who invoked Charlie Kirk's name to rally support for the event. Robinson billed yesterday's
Wait, that's not the video. They ain't playing the right video. Anyway, New York City officials opened the doors for a unique school Thursday. A first of its kind historically black college and university preparatory high school in a major U.S. city. There are just not enough exposure to HBCUs across the country, Johnson said during an interview with ABC News ahead of the school's opening. We talk about college and college access, but we do not spend enough time celebrating the history and the data around it. HBCUs enroll nearly 10% of all black U.S. undergraduates and promote the majority of black doctors, lawyers, and judges, according to the United Negro College Fund and the Thurgood Marshall College Fund. Oh, snap. My bad. Oh, man. Virginia said your page hasn't changed. Stuff. My bad. My fault. At least you heard it. It wasn't much to see anyway. But yeah, they're opening up a high school to prepare, a prep school to prepare for HBCUs in New York. So the immediate question people begin to ask is, I wonder who's going to be the main people that end up in this school, especially in New York. So obviously, people are wondering, is it going to be majority immigrant, or is it going to be black Americans or whatever? So then this right here came out. Let me play Buddy here.
Check this out, y'all. Only Jamaican students in Howard qualify.
Now these stories don't correlate. I'm just making a point here.
For these scholarships. You have a network called Jamaica Howard University Affinity Network issuing out over $100,000 of scholarships to only Jamaican students. If you're making over a GPA of 3.0, they're going to give you $4,000, but you have to be a Jamaican student. So my whole thing is, you have these black immigrants that come over here and benefit off the opportunities that were given to them by black Americans. Then they get these political positions and turn around and say, hey, no reparations for black Americans. That will be their stance. Like, no, black Americans don't deserve reparations. All along, they're benefiting from the opportunities that black Americans provided for them in this country. So you go over to Howard, a HBCU, you take full advantage of the opportunities and the education over there, just in the future to turn around and smack black Americans in the face, right? And we all know Jamaicans, the Caribbean people, they don't claim black unless it's...
I'm going to say this. I've said this before. And he just said, that's true. Howard University Dean is Jamaican. I didn't know that. The only people that don't know that there's a competition going on is black America. I remember I used to hear people say that all the time, black America don't compete. We don't compete. We don't think that we should be competing with. Now, we understand the whole idea of the rat race when it comes to corporate America, or this, this country in general, just, working and stuff. But I think especially when we see somebody else is quote unquote black, we don't see it as competition, but they do. So that, yes, I'm going to come to the country. I'm going to benefit from the education I can get through the scholarship programs supposed to be dedicated to black people. And then when I get into a certain position of influence, I'm going to make sure I can reach back and help people from the country I come from. It's nothing to be mad at. It's just you need to acknowledge that it's a competition and start competing. Make sure you tell people, hey, this scholarship that exists, it is for black Americans, which is what California is doing. With the recent I can't remember the name of it. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on, y'all. there was something that passed or been sent to the governor's desk. Yeah. All right. This right here. California lawmakers passed bill to grant priority college admission for descendants of slavery. So basically, they're trying to get a bill passed where colleges in California must take into account someone's lineage. Sorry. The AB 7 allows colleges to consider preferential enrollment if they can put eligibility in AB 7. Why did Byron Weber and the CLBC need SB 437? So there's a lot of people in disagreement with the AB 7 bill. They're saying all it is you're now telling the colleges they can consider allowing this person in because they're Black American over this other person because they're Black or because they're Jamaican or from another country. So it's not even that they have to give preferential treatment, it's that they can consider it for college admission. So I saw a lot of people saying that that's pointless. That's a nothing burger. Why would we want this? It's just more filler. It's not going to do anything, but maybe it's a start to the idea of you start your own funds or you start replacing names. These college scholarship programs that is for Black people, Black women in particular, for certain situations, maybe you start putting that word American next to it or ADOS FBA, whatever, you can find a way to come to a conclusion on it. You got to start taking claim to what's yours then. You can't get mad at other people for getting up and wanting to help what they consider to be their own people. You have to acknowledge it, understand what it is, and move forward with it. But I think that's all we got this week. We got anything else? Oh yeah, I was gonna go into this. I think I'm gonna save this for next week. Did y'all watch the Hurricane Katrina new one? It's not new. I guess they died on Netflix. I think I'm gonna go into that next week. They brought up Hurricane Katrina again to piss people off, show people how wicked this country is. Every time you see something about what happened during that Hurricane Katrina, I reminded every time I see something about it, it was just as bad as 9/11. It's pretty much understood that it was not just some natural accident, that there was some planning that went on, and then the stuff that happened afterwards, that whole situation was just tragic. And it don't get acknowledged as much as it should. I know about people that's from that area, from there, the people that were forced to leave and go to Texas and other places. I'm pretty sure they have a remembrance for it, but it should definitely be something that's talked about and addressed a lot more. But anyway, how long we been going? Where we at? 203. Yeah, I'm gonna say this last segment for next week when I can go more in depth with it. Virginia says, do you feel if for no other reason we're stewards of this landmass, therefore no need to compete? Well, if you do it on a spiritual level, there's no reason to compete because you're not going to be able to get out of this situation through your own will. We're not going to be able to bootstrap our way out of this situation. This is not our peace. This is not our kingdom. This is not our rest. You're still in captivity. So no, I don't believe you're going to be able to compete your way out of it. I think there will be individuals that can be able to find a way to get some success and make life a little better for the rest of us. Maybe some people get up there and build some things that make life a little more convenient. But yeah, I don't think it'll be a situation where we can compete and just take it over as it should happen. But I agree, start gatekeeping. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And it's been going on recently. We're seeing the language develop more and more. We're seeing this thing grow outside of what they were just on the internet. Now it's growing outside of the internet. People are at these city council meetings. You're seeing them at sporting events. I saw them at the Crawford Canelo fight. They were waving around the Black American flag. It was FB and ADOS, and they was letting it be known It was letting it be known that, there's a renaissance into a level of pride in our lineage, maybe. Virginia said, I speak for myself. It's one of those things where I can understand somebody saying the situation we're in this country and how it's even, if you just look at it from how it's the reality, how it's built up, how it was built up, you were never supposed to be able to climb out of it. Like I always make sure I remind, you're not supposed to be here. The things that our people have been through in this country, people don't exist afterwards. They go extinct. The fact that we're still here in a large numbers with heavy influence speaks to our culture of determination and will, But anyway, thank y'all for coming through. I appreciate the support. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the conversation. Make sure we be back next week. Black Americans are battle tested. Very. So when stuff really pop off and we really get that awakening, it's gonna be detrimental to everybody else. We shall see. But anyway, man, thank y'all for coming through. Appreciate the support. As always, be sure to like it on your way out. Subscribe if you're not. Share it if you can. Always appreciate y'all coming through for great conversation. Make sure I'm coming back next week. Same time. I am thinking about moving earlier, as I said, but I don't know what time that would be. Y'all give me some ideas maybe of a good time to start possibly if we go earlier. But anyway, thank y'all for coming through. Peace. And as always, all praise to the Most High. And peace, man.